Hey, okay, we are just trying to get some technical stuff done. So I am running a little late, as time does do sometimes. I think it's funny that as we try, like the more we try to do something, I swear, just like life has its own way. It does what it wants to do. Okay, let's see if, why is my camera not working? All right, so like I said, I'm gonna be streaming this multiple places so I can, like if people can't make it today, or, God, I hope my camera works. Public, yes, yes, thank you. I've been having such a hard time getting my camera to like do what I want it to do. Okay. Theoretically, this should be working. Is this what I want? No. Is this what I want? Yes! Aha! I am the master of technology! Woo! Ooh, although that camera is not where I want it to be. There we go. All right, well, kind of. Let's make this make sense. We are live. Just giving everyone a couple of minutes to join in. Fantastic. I am so excited about this. My hair is wet. I've got so much energy. Okay, so you'll see me going back and forth. I've got this going a couple of places so that we can share this with the world as much as possible. This energy with the new moon yesterday, if you were feeling it, like, scream it from the rooftops, because this has been insane for me. I don't know about you. I know, and we all, like, that's the beautiful thing about energy. We all have our own experiences, right? Because we're all our own unique individuals. We've got our own perspectives, the things that we've gone through that have molded us. And so today we are going to be focusing and making a decision. This decision is to change. This decision is to take your power and start creating your own life, because we're done playing small, right? We are done with all of the shoulds. We are done questioning ourselves constantly and not listening to our own intuition. There is so much where we make our own selves stuck. Constantly, we're saying, I want to do this, but the little voice in our head is holding us back. And today, we are done with that. So the beautiful thing, okay, and I've said this before, I'll say it a million times, I am not an astrologer, okay? What I am a Reiki practitioner, and I feel for the energy. I am an intuitive, I'm a coach, I'm a somatic practitioner, a massage therapist, you know, all of the things. But in using those tools, those are all tools. They're all things that other people like to label me as, because they say, you know, when you meet somebody, you say, oh, hi, so, you know, I'm so-and-so, nice to meet you, who are you, or what's your name? And typically the next question is, oh, interesting, that's cool, so what do you do? And they're looking for those labels. They're looking for those ways to identify you, because our mind likes to put things into boxes. Our mind wants to understand. But here's the secret, guys. Here's the secret. We are not our minds. Right? We're not. We are the consciousness outside. We are our consciousness. Our energy is so much bigger than this body. And oh gosh, there's so much I can go into there. And our body is shaped by that energy. Whew. So I'm gonna take a second to calm down. I'm gonna need a drink of water. Give everybody a minute. So this energy is likely going to be all over the place today. All right. So I'm feeling a lot of big energy, a lot of forward momentum, winds of change, so to speak, as we are in Libra, an air sign. Good morning. And I'm going to do my best at the end to ground us in. Now I'm shooting for an hour with this. We're likely going to go a little longer. So if you've got to split and be somewhere else, just remember I am reposting this. Okay, you are going to have access to it. And if you're on some platform that doesn't notify you of that post, shoot me a DM. I'll make sure I get it to you. Okay? So today, grab something to write with. If you're a typer, go for it. Type something out. Not a big deal. Like, I'm not going to judge. I'm a pen and penciler or a pen and paper kind of person. I like that tactile, kinesthetic, putting into like more of a tangible manifestation. That's my personal preference. But if you like to type things out, if you like to write it on your phone, if you like to do an audio clip, sometimes while I'm doing meditations and practices, I'll put on a voice recorder because there's so much that can come through me as I'm channeling the information coming from the cosmos that I don't always catch it consciously. So being able to listen to it really helps. So today we're focusing and we're making a decision. We are making a decision, and this sounds big, but it's actually, we're going to put it in bite-sized pieces, okay? We are making a decision with what we want to do with our lives. We are making the conscious choice to step into our reality. Okay? It's big. It's big. But that is right now, right? And so yesterday we had the new moon in Libra, which is most of this energy that's being dumped onto us right now. We just ended eclipse season. This is the first new moon since the eclipses, so we still have all of that shifting, and this really feels like yet another, and I feel like this is constantly happening all the time. It's like, how many times do I have to be reborn? How many times do I have to go through this? When can I be done? And you know what? The best thing I can say is we're never done. That's part of this life. Like, we can get to points of comfort, and then we can start realizing this part right here, it's not accurate to me. Whew. This part right here, this was programming. This part was something that somebody else put onto me that I accepted. Because we have to remember, words are spells. Words are a vibration, and that vibration will ingrain in the water in our bodies. It will ingrain in our minds. So we are getting into body practices. This is not just all mind stuff. The energy is flowing everywhere, in and out of our consciousness, in and out of this reality, and that is how we shift. That is how we make aligned change and take action. Okay, so we're making a decision today. If you have decided to claim your reality, to stop with the labels, to stop with the identities that people have put onto you, to stop with all of the things that you should have done, to stop with the limitations from the past, those things that you went through, because, and I mean this with all due respect, like, and so here's the thing, I'm likely going to trigger. There are going to be triggers today. There are going to be things that come through that you might get a little bit offended by. And understand that I mean it with all respect. This is all an offering for your reflection. This is for you to say, whew, who was it who said that? Anyway, I heard one time somebody say, never waste a trigger. I love that. Love it. Anytime I get triggered, I love to say, ooh, what is this? Like, I'm going to look at this with curiosity. What is going on here? There's something that is not sitting right with me. And is it not sitting right because there's a speck of truth in it? Is it not sitting right because the other person has this intention to harm me? Like, there are so many reasons, but you can look at it and you can really play with it, because all of this is a game, right? We have to remember that life in its entirety is a game. We are here to experience it in all of its forms. That's why I hate this whole spiritual bypassing. Like, I'm going to live in love and light, and I'm going to stay positive all the time. Not possible. Not possible. We're humans. We have a nervous system running through this very material body. Adjust this camera a bit more. There we go. We have chemicals that are going to get dumped into our systems. And there's a reason for that, right? Some of it's to protect us. And in those moments, we can say thank you. Thank you, nervous system. Thank you, body. Thank you if you're into internal family systems. Thank you, protector. I know that you have the best intentions for me. So if today anything triggers you, look at it with curiosity. Write it down so you can come back to it later and say, what was this about? But we're going to look at the big picture here. So we are done living by our past. We are done saying this trauma is what happened to me and defining yourself by it. It's so easy. Huge advocate for therapy, okay? This is not therapy. Huge advocate for therapy. I do therapy, think it's fantastic. But additionally, I've noticed that therapy, most therapists, like there are so many modalities, but a lot of times in therapy, they like to use like a desensitization technique where you're constantly telling your story. And that is beneficial if you're having like flashbacks, right? Fully acknowledge that. I also like to use techniques like tapping. Like I get into that when I do coaching. If we're having issues, somebody has something that's coming up for them, like you can tap and like work through the nervous system to reprogram that. But I digress. So when we're going into therapy and they're saying, tell me your story, tell me your story, tell me your story, it is constantly programming. This is me. This is what happened to me. This is why I'm this way. And you know what, babe? You are not broken. You're not. Things happened. Yes. And I hate when somebody is always like, well, somebody else has it worse. You know, like just be grateful for what you have. Gratitude, beautiful. Huge advocate for gratitude. I wake up every morning and I take a big breath and I say, what am I grateful for today? I am so happy that my eyes are about to open. I am so happy that I have a bed that is warm. I'm so like, go through the list, right? Wonderful tool. But also, anybody can have an experience. The same, two different people can have the exact same experience and take wildly different things from it. Because of our soul's purpose, because what we came to experience, because the lessons that we need to learn and what we need to stop identifying by. I have 3 siblings, right? So we're all raised the exact same way in the exact same house, and yet we all have very different outlooks on life. Not just like, what do we want to do for work, but our personal values, the things that we pass on to other people, how we interact interpersonally, so different based on the same experiences. You do not have to let those experiences define you. You get to choose. Did it happen? Yes. Did it suck? Abso-freaking-lutely. But that's done now. I pray that you are not still in the situation. If you are, that's your next step. Start getting out of that, right? But if you're out of that situation, put it away. Use those lessons. Use those wounds to show your gift, to figure out what you needed to learn and pass it on, to move through it, with it. All right, we'll get into that later. So this is a time of full and complete transformation of yourself. We are stepping into what we want from our lives. And this is not just about making 7 figures. I see so much of that right now. There is so much more to life than how much you have in your bank account. I have known very wealthy people. I have worked with very wealthy people, and I can tell you that they are not happy unless they have done that inner work to get past the shit in their past, to love other people, to trust open people, to ground into this reality, to open their hearts, to speak their truths, to be good people. You can go on a million vacations. It's not going to mean anything unless you have meaning, unless you have purpose. So we are transforming our reality from the inside out. That's the way it works. You can buy the house. That's the other thing I see with manifestation practices. I see a lot of people say, show up as this person that you want to be, dress like they want to, or like they would dress, eat the foods that they would eat. And to some degree, that does make sense, right? To some degree, like if my ideal health, I'm not really into a specific body type. I want to be healthy. I'm going for longevity. I have a client who's 100 and she just recently stopped walking. She just got to the point where she is mostly in a wheelchair, but she can still transfer and kind of scoot places. And it's like, you know what? That's what I'm going for. I want to be able to sit down and stand back up when I'm 100. Okay, I want to be able to continue to move my shoulder. I have clients who can't scratch their own backs, right? So those are my goals. You have your own goals. You have your own desires, and that is beautiful, and I honor that. So as you're transforming yourself and you're saying, where do I want to be? The first step is safety. The first step is coming home to this body and letting it know that it is loved and that you are safe. And that everything that comes after it, not one dang thing. I'm going to try to watch my language today because I'm a little fired up. Not one dang thing is about perfection. Perfection is an illusion. It is unattainable. It is a construct that is meant to keep you grinding. It is meant to keep you sad, to make you feel like you are never good enough. Babe, you are. If you are evolving, then you are good enough. We make mistakes constantly as parents, as partners, as children, as coworkers. It's all of these things that we identify as, this list of labels that we have to go through each day as we're showing up in different aspects of our lives. And most of the time, we're showing up in those different aspects with masks. And not one of those aspects is about having perfection. We are not meant to be perfect. My goal every day, am I a better person than I was yesterday? Can I acknowledge when I was wrong, take accountability for it, and start making the change? Start using my resources and my tools to do better next time. Because if you don't, life is a spiral, right? You're going to come back and hit these lessons again and again until you have learned them. And that's when things shift. We can go in there's a whole nother tangent there with like how time works and how it's not linear and oh gosh, okay. So as you're transforming, as you are stepping into your power, into your authenticity. That is the highest vibration. If you look at the scale where like anger sits right on the bottom of vibratory functions, they used to think it was like happiness and joy and love. And those are very high vibrations, but they're able to measure now. And this is why I love the interplay that we are in today of science and energy, because so much of this, like I keep finding articles, and like there was one, a university, I can't think of who it was right now, a university had done a study that had shown evidence that we can communicate energetically over long distances, that we can actually sense other people's energy. And having done Reiki for a really long time, like I know this to be true. Having been a very sensitive child, I know this to be true. And one of my kiddos, goodness love him, he's such a skeptic. He's so adorable. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I love him to bits. So I tell him this one day, he humors me, right? So he's like, Mom, okay, if that's what you believe, you do you. I love you, Mom. So I'm reading this article, and I go, hey, bud, do you want to hear about this article I just read? Sure. He's open-minded enough to like hear about the science. He likes the science. And so I tell him about this, and I'm like, look what this university just found. And he goes, oh, Mom, you're never going to stop talking about this now. They've proven it. So annoyed. So where, as you're living this life, where are you giving away your power? Where are you not listening to your intuition, your preferences, your desires? Where are you letting other people make decisions for you so that you can feel safe? Because making those wrong decisions can be scary. I know that. I do. The unknown, what is the saying? A familiar hell is better than the unknown. You know, like on the other side of this door could be just the most vibrant, like sensual, tactile, juicy life that you have ever dreamed of. But because you've never opened that door and you don't know with all certainty, it's scary to open that door. I get that. But is it scarier to stay where you are now? Because that's the point we have to get to. We as humans, all of us, have to get to that dark night of the soul. Why does it sound like somebody's on my roof? I don't know. We have to get to that dark night of the soul. We have to get to that rock bottom where we say, I am not going to take this anymore. Like, for some reason, we have to get fed up and say, like, honestly, it can't get any worse than this, can it? And sometimes it does. And those moments also carry lessons. Okay? Remember that. Those moments also carry lessons. Sometimes it feels worse. And I love when I was first, I can't say starting my healing journey because we're always all healing. That's just the nature of it. But when I first started becoming conscious to healing and to practices, I really clung on to the phrase, it's always darkest before the dawn. And I had to spend a long time in that coming back. I circle around a lot. So I I had to realize all of the places that I was giving away my power. I was so afraid to make a choice that would make somebody mad at me. I was so afraid, like, I kid you not, guys. At one point in my life, I couldn't call and order a pizza because I was too anxious about making the person taking the order, who was doing their job at their place of employment that they elected to be at, I was too afraid to annoy them that I couldn't call and order a pizza. I would have to make my husband do it. There was a long time I couldn't even decide what to eat. I had to ask everybody else, like, what do you want to make this? What do you want me to make this week? What do you want to eat? I mean, now I've gotten to a point where I take votes. Like, anybody in the mood for anything in particular? Because I can do that. But also, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. Like, I'm cooking. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. I'm like, we have to stop giving our power away. We will never do anything if we are giving it away. We are our own sovereign beings. We are just as worthy and deserving. And that was the biggest mindset shift. I spent so long people pleasing in my life. I wanted to make everybody happy. And I mean, like I've said before, to a degree, like, I am a very nurturing person. I love making people feel comfy and cozy. I love making people understand and feel as if they are valued and cared for, that they have a space in which they can be safe and vulnerable. And a lot of times it takes a lot of people quite a while to get to a point where they trust me, because they're not used to that. I have a client, very dear older man who's disabled, and sometimes I'll do little tasks around the house for him. Like, I'll change his light bulb, I'll put new batteries in his smoke detectors, like, just little things that he can't do on his own. And initially he would ask, like, oh, just like, do you want to just charge an extra half an hour? It's like, dude, like, I got a seed, a popcorn kernel out of his dishwasher one day. His dishwasher wouldn't work because there was a popcorn kernel stuck in the, it's like the drain, like the fan for the drain couldn't spin, and so the water stayed in and it just stopped the little dishwasher. And so I was like, yeah, I can take a look at it. Not a big deal. Like, obviously I'm not a dishwasher technician, so I can't make any promises, but I looked up his model on YouTube and I said, okay, like, these are the possibilities. Like, there's some things in here that I can't do, but the very first thing it says is just check this little cache, and if there's something in there, that can fix it. So I checked it, and took me all of 10 minutes to take out the stuff, to get the popcorn seed out, to put it back in, and to start the dishwasher and hear it drain. And he goes, he's so grateful. And he says, you're welcome to charge me for an extra half an hour. So it took me 10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes, and it's not the job I was here for. Like, why would I charge you 30 minutes of my time for a 10-minute job when you just needed some help, right? And I don't say that to get credit. I say that for you to understand that there are people out there. He didn't trust me for a long time. He literally asked me, why are you so nice? Why don't you charge more? Why are you willing to help? He was so used to being taken advantage of. So that is part of my soul's purpose. I am here, and I know this with all certainty in every fiber of my being. I am here to help others feel nurtured and cared for and deserving, so that they can be vulnerable, so that they can let down their guards and just be a human. To ugly cry. Like, there's so much, social media annoys me in that way, because we're so used to seeing things curated. It's the happy, it's the perfect, it's the success. And thankfully I'm starting to see, at least on like the business platforms, I'm starting to see more of a grind. Like, this is what I'm putting in. This is how many hours I'm putting in. But there's also so many that are like, I only work 10 hours a week and I make 7 figures a month. And it's like, okay, but you had to put in a lot of work to get there. So don't BS me. So all of this comes back around to, sorry guys, I go on so many tangents. Stop me if I'm rambling and you're like, hey, I lost the thread, come back. I know what I'm here to do, right? And it is never my place to tell you who you need to be, what you need to do. That's your decision. You have that right as a being with a consciousness. So where are you giving your power away? Who are you giving it away to? What little indicators are going off in your mind that say, I'm not being authentically me? I spent so much time people pleasing that I was self-sacrificing at that point, and I was starting to get resentful. And that's not where I want to be giving from. I do want to give. And one day, as I'm sitting in my room, trying to meditate in my closet, because it was the only dark and quiet space in my house, I heard this little voice say out in my consciousness, why don't you deserve just as much? You deserve just as much as anyone else. If they can be happy picking dinner, so can you. You are not an inconvenience. It is so easy for the people in our lives to want to make us feel like an inconvenience, to make us feel like our feelings, our needs, our wants, our desires are too much, because it makes them uncomfortable, because they might have to deal with it. They might have to give you a little bit of energy. And you know what, love? If that's how they're going to treat you, and again, like everything I say, if it doesn't resonate, chuck it, like obviously. But if they're not willing to treat you as good as you're willing to treat them, if they're not matching your energy, are they worth your time? And I don't mean everything needs to be completely reciprocal. It is not about equality. It is not a one-for-one transaction in any relationship, in any interaction in life. But there is a balance, and that comes back to Libra. There is a balance. Are your scales balanced? Are you feeling in balance and in alignment? And if you're not, what are you ready to shift out of? What are you so done with? And that's the first pause we're going to take. All right, I'm just going to give you like 60 seconds in quiet. What are you ready to be done with? It doesn't have to be a lot, and it doesn't have to be big. Just what are you ready to step away from, to leave behind? Maybe it's a story, maybe it's a habit. I know I said I was going to be quiet for 60 seconds, okay. Okay, close enough. Close enough. If you need to come back to it, you can. Leave some space on your journal page. Our paradigms are shifting right now. We are in a moment of transformation, of reclamation, of rebirth, where we get the opportunity to look at our lives from an outside perspective, because sometimes we are so close There's that saying, you can't see the forest through the trees. You're so busy looking at the tree that it's hard to see the big picture. And if that's you, if you can resonate with having a hard time seeing the big picture, I do have a tool for that. It's essentially an assessment. I hate using that word, though. It doesn't feel like an assessment. But it's an evaluation tool where it gives you some prompts to look at the big picture of your life. The prompts that I use are in 8 key areas that I've noticed in people that I've interacted with and worked with, that like these are the 8 areas of life that often make the most dysfunction. Like, and sometimes they're not in complete alignment. Like, you might think you have financial issues, let's say. Okay, so you might think that you don't have enough money and that's why you're not happy. But if you zoom out, you realize that your home life is really struggling. And so that is causing these limiting beliefs or this lack of time and engagement in where you want to be in your career. And that's why your money's struggling. So sometimes things need to be worked on in an order other than what we think because we're so busy looking at that damn tree. So if that's a tool, it's also got some like reflection prompts and things like that. If that's a tool that you feel like would be beneficial during this phase, like go, you can find the links for it. But right now we have so many false constructs, right? And we're taking those away. There is what you thought was reality, what was wounding, what was this really terrible time in your life, that in a roundabout way, and this is where somebody, and I know this because I've been there, right? I've been where you are. Maybe not in its exactness, right? Because again, we're living our own unique experiences. But all of these things are giving you wisdom. And you have the opportunity, you get to make the choice of whether you're going to look at these things that have happened and build up bigger walls, or if you're going to look at these things and use them to empower you. And now that's a whole other thing we'll get into in a minute, of the potential for toxicity, because there's a pendulum, right? There's a balance. Again, Libra, there is a balance to all of it. There's a balance to our masculine and feminine, to the amount that we manipulate and create our reality, and the amount that we are in the flow and in co-creation. It's not all about force, but it is about reclamation, about finding that fire within you and knowing who you are at your core and being so unshakable. And that is beautiful. I'm so jazzed. Okay, so we have right now this truth warrior, right? Who is saying, this is who you are, my love. Look at this. Look at how incredible you are. And all of these layers, like an onion, that you have wrapped around you, that you feel like have shaped you, can be peeled away. It is time to initiate you into your authenticity, into your vibrancy. Holy moly. I have so much that came through in my transmission while I meditated this morning, and we're already this far in. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this a little bit more succinct. So under your deepest wounds often lie your greatest gifts. And that's a theme I've seen in so many things. If you get into the archetypes, into mythology, there's Chiron, the wounded healer. You have to digest that poison, to let it go through your system, to transmute it. This is an alchemical process. And your soul is higher than this ego. Your soul is at a point right now where it's saying, I'm done playing this game. This is BS. We're calling it out. We are throwing you into alignment. This, everything looks good on paper. I hear this so often. It's heartbreaking to me how often I hear people say, for all intents and purposes, I have a perfect life. I'm married, I have kids, I have a dog, I've got a car, I've got a house, I've got all of these things that society told me that I had to have to be happy, that would make me fulfilled, and not one of them even scratches the surface on making me feel full and complete and happy or satisfied. And it's not about wanting more. It's not about more. It's not about doing more. It's not about getting more. It's really about less. It's about unfolding, unwinding, taking those things, those constructs, and say, what is it? Ikigai is a Japanese practice, I think it is. Saying, does this make me happy? Does this piece of my life actually resonate? And if not, lovingly release it. Now that sounds easier than it is oftentimes. You know, first of all, there's a grieving process, which is so respectable. I feel like so many times, like, we can't sit in other people's discomfort. That's another reason why I do what I do. I'm fine sitting with you while you're uncomfortable. There is this example I like to use of when a baby's crying. And, you know, sometimes the baby's crying because, you know, they're hungry or they're wet. And sometimes they're frustrated. And especially like when they get into toddlerhood, they're so just angry, or they're sad, or, you know, they scraped their knee and it hurts. And the parents, whether it's, you know, it's often well-meaning. Sometimes it's, you know, I don't want all of these people looking at my kid crying, so I'm going to try to make the kid happy right away. Or they should be tougher, so I'm going to make them, you know, get up and brush it off, or like whatever the case. But they try to make the kid get rid of those emotions, and they don't give them the process. They don't give them the tools, and they don't give them the time and space to feel their feelings. And that throws us out of alignment. We have to, our bodies will hold on to whatever feelings aren't being processed, and that will just compound, and one day it's like a shaken up bottle or a volcano. It's going to erupt. It's just a matter of when. So we're getting into these deeper hidden parts of ourselves. Maybe they're parts of ourselves that we felt ashamed about, where we've wanted a certain aspect. Maybe you've wanted to go study tree frogs and save that aspect of the rainforest. But everybody was like, well, there's no money in that. That's a stupid idea. And part of you heard that, because again, words are spells. Part of you heard that, and you went, you know what, they're probably right. That's a stupid dream. That's what you're here for. It's what you're here for. Your soul has a reason that it presented you with that desire, with that longing, with that experience. And until you get it, maybe it wasn't the most perfect decision, but there's a lesson there. That's what you need to experience. Take a breath. Just let that settle in for a second. That is what you are here to experience. And that is healthy, and that is beautiful, and that is divine. It is what your soul needs. Oh, good. My YouTube is unstable. What's going on with my interwebs? So, as we are in the final phases of this new moon in Libra, because oftentimes the energy usually sits around the space. It's not a one day only thing. Like, I know that the new moon was completely dark yesterday. It depends on where you are in the world as well, right? So it's typically around 3 days before and 3 days after. That's when the energy kind of builds and it peaks, and then it tapers off a bit. But like, it's a doorway. It's an invitation. It's a catalyst. And so right now with Libra is a moment to balance that masculine and feminine to support you into these next steps. So your masculine is here to create a container. There's toxicity on both sides. So do your best to take away the preconceived notions and societal implications of masculine and feminine. Okay, I'm going to challenge you to do that. When I say masculine, that is the most divine aspect of the masculine. And we all hold it as we all hold the feminine. It does not matter what body you're in. It is an energy. Okay? So the masculine, there was a man I heard on Instagram the other day talking about his role as a man in a house of daughters. And he described his daughter like the beach and the water there. And his wife was like the ocean. And he, as a man, is the harbor wall. That masculine energy creates a container, creates a safe space to hold all of the creative energies, all of the emotions, this whirlpool that is the feminine of flow and creation, and it can be destructive. And so the masculine energy holds it. And then once it has come to its fruition, it can put it into action. The masculine is the doing. The feminine creates, it comes in and creates, it cultivates, and then the masculine brings it into the world. So that's what we're doing right now. Our feminine right now is also keeping us in alignment. Our feminine, as the mother, is saying, I do this with my kids, and sometimes it ticks them off. But they always come back and they say, I'm right. Not that I want to be right, okay? I can be wrong sometimes, and I tell them that too. I'm like, look, if I'm off script here, if I'm reading something that is completely just not true, tell me, because I want to know what it is for you. I understand that and we can get, another time we'll get into human design, but like I'm a projector, right? And on top of being energetically sensitive, I can see these patterns, these shifts, and I can sense the energy behind it. And so I say, sorry, I heard one of the apartments with a smoke alarm, and now I smell smoke, but the smoke detector is done, so they must have just been cooking. Anyway, sorry, back to it. So I see this big picture, but I also understand that as a projector, one of my roles, one of my practices needs to be waiting for the invitation. Okay, so I'm not just going to throw my advice on people. That unsolicited advice is super obnoxious to 9 people out of 10, myself included sometimes, right? It's like, I want to figure this one out on my own. So as a mom, there's oftentimes that I'll see them behaving in a way, or I'll see them starting to kind of lean towards something, and I understand that they're in an age where they're kind of like trying on personalities, and I'll let them know, like, hey, I'm noticing this is what's going on, and it seems like it's affecting you in this way, XYZ. Am I on track there? And if they agree, I say, is that who you are? And that is the mother. That is the mother. It's like, I'm going to hold space for you. I'm going to support you through this process. with all of the love and nurturing that I could ever muster, but I'm also going to let you know if something is off, if something just doesn't seem like it's sitting right. If I see you wearing this mask in front of certain friends, and I see your personality shift, and I feel your energy changing, are you really in alignment with those people? Are they who you want to be spending your time with? And we need to heal from the toxic feminine, right? Like, I hear a lot about the patriarchy and the toxic masculine. There is toxicity on both sides, guys. 100%. There's the oppression of the masculine right now. And there's also the feminine saying, well, actually, we're better, we're smarter. My husband showed me this video one day of a couple in a grocery store. And it's funny, but it's funny in a sad way, right? So, couple in a grocery store, they're picking out tomatoes. The wife, the husband has his phone out very subtly. She doesn't know that he's got his phone recording. At least, I mean, it's social media. They always could actually know, but it's perceived that she doesn't know. And so she picks out a tomato and she puts it in the bag. And he's supposed to be picking out tomatoes too. So she's searching over here. She finds a tomato. She puts it in the bag. She's searching. And I think they picked out like 5 or 6 tomatoes. But he starts, so at first he was picking out tomatoes from the display and handing it to her to check it, and she would say no, and she would put it back down. So then he started taking the tomatoes that she had already picked out of her bag and handing it to her, and she would say no, and she would put it down. She had already picked that damn tomato. Like, she had already said that it was right. So I see women who are so set on being more right, on being more capable, they are shutting down the masculine. We need to work together. We balance each other out. Damn Libra. We are meant to flow the yin and the yang with a little bit of each within ourselves. One is not meant to be greater than the other or more than the other. It is a balance. So we need to heal that feminine and we need to heal that masculine. We, as women, I'm going to call everyone out. The feminine is not better. The masculine is not better. And women, my loves, you are beautiful. You are incredible. Everything about you. Just as a man is. But women, with our emotions and our tumultuousness and our storms, there is a time and a place for that. But now is not the time to be vengeful. When does vengeance ever solve anything? You see it in tropes with like superheroes. Like they become a hero to fight crime because their parents were killed, and they get to that moment where they're going to get justice by taking down the person that caused them harm by taking their family or whatever it was. And if they do it, it doesn't fill that hole. It doesn't bring their family back. It doesn't solve anything. Violence begets violence. When we are vengeful, when we are rageful, when we are just, there is so much hate and venom inside of us, we are only poisoning ourselves. Sure, we can be passive aggressive or fully aggressive, and we can make other people's lives crappy too, but they can leave. They can just be like, okay, cool, I'm done, I'm out. You said your 2 cents, and I'm out. They have that right, and we have to sleep with it every night. We have to have it churning in the back of our heads because we are the ones containing that poison. So this is a moment to purge that, to release it, to feel it, to respect it, to honor it. And that is so much with emotions, right? Emotions are energy in motion. They have to be felt. They have to be acknowledged. And if you're not witnessing them and moving through them, you are just containing them. And we see this physically. When I do body work, I see the clenched fist and the tight jaw. I see the stress of the weight on the shoulders, the collapse of the depression. Our bodies hold our emotions. If we clear them, if we witness them, if we express them, and we move through them, it's a breath of fresh air. We get to feel it, and then we get to let it go with love and respect, reverence. So right now, I'm going to encourage you. Healing is not fixing. Okay, whether you're going to therapy or going to see a coach, whatever the case is, healing is not about fixing you. You are not broken. Not in the slightest. Okay? Hold that in your heart. Just a moment. I'm going to encourage you. Everything is an invitation. It's not a command. You have free will. Do what feels right. If you're in a space where you feel safe, so close your eyes for just a moment and really hold in your heart. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. Take a big breath. Witness that. Take as many big breaths as you need. Maybe further than just holding your heart, maybe give yourself a hug. When's the last time you gave yourself some love? When's the last time that you witnessed that you deserve to give yourself affection? And I'm going to invite just a little reflection, a little observation, and I'll give you a moment to write it down, because this could be very profound if you haven't done this before. So if you feel like you're safe right now, if you're in a place that's comfortable, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. To take a moment first to witness any noises around you. Really hear them. I can hear a whirring of a fan. I can hear the traffic outside. Notice everything that you can hear. Notice your breath. Now going within. Feel that space. As young as you can remember of being a child. Just one moment where you felt like you were broken. We're going to call in our higher consciousness now. And that higher consciousness as the mother and the father. And the mother comes, she wraps you up in her arms. And this might be your mother, it might be someone else's mother, same for the father. Or it might be that great mother and the great father that you have never known, but you know is who you needed, you know exists in the energetic realm. And as the mother holds you in her arms in that moment that you felt broken, what does she have to say to you? With all the love in her heart, that witnessing. I feel called to rock back and forth. If you do too, being held in that mother's arms. Let yourself sway. Let your body do what it needs to, whether you're sitting or laying. If you're laying, try laying on your side and rocking back and forth. Again, just invitations. That mother lets you know all the things that you need to really understand about yourself. And the father stands behind her, supportive and strong. And he has his own words of wisdom for you. What does the great Father have to say? You are not broken. You are strong. You are capable. You are deserving. Feel that strength. Feel that witnessing. Feel the emotions that it brings up in your body. Is it sadness? Is it grief? Is it joy? Is it relief? Every feeling has its space. What does your feeling need to be expressed? You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. Take a big breath in. Out. One more with a little more power, breathing in and out. Are you ready? Are you ready to be done? You know, Abraham Hicks talks about being ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. Are you ready now? What's stopping you? I'll give you a hint. It's you. You are the only thing stopping you. Not a dang thing in this world can actually stop you. Every second of every moment, you have a choice. Sometimes it might not feel like it. Sometimes the consequence isn't worth that choice to you, but it is still your choice. The only time you don't have a choice is when you choose not to. When you choose to hand your power away and say, I don't want this responsibility. But if you can accept that you're not broken, that you can take control of your life, then do it right now. So is that little you? I wish I could stand up. I don't have the space and the camera angles to do it right now. So I'm going to encourage you, stand up. Stand up for yourself. Find a power pose, right? I personally, I'm a Wonder Woman fan. Hands on the hips, shoulders rolled back, chest wide. Be here now. Be present. Spread your legs out as you stand. Feel yourself here in this moment. Witness your body. This amazing body that is capable of so much. This amazing heart that can hold so much. This voice that can bring into reality anything that you want just by asking. Just by asking. This mind that can dream impossible dreams that are not impossible. Some of them are hard. I don't even like using the word hard. Some of them are challenging to achieve. But aren't the challenging things just a little more juicy? I remember saying something along the lines of, the sweetest fruit is at the top of the tree. It's a little harder to get to, but is it juicy? Took my kids to Yosemite a few years back. They were little. And we did the Vernal and Nevada Falls hike. So it's a 12-mile hike. Took us all day. Now, I come prepared as mom. That's my favorite. It's like, I'm gonna think about the possibilities here. What could happen? I'm gonna prep for them. If we've got a little too much at the end, I'd rather be prepared than not have what I need. So I have snacks. We've got I carry a yoga mat on my pack so the kids can sit comfortably if there's not a rock when they decide they need a rest. Maybe they need to stretch a little bit, whatever the case is. So I've got all this stuff. Took us all day. When we get to that first waterfall, we're able to get in the water. And we took a little moment and we were refreshed, because sometimes we need that on these journeys, right? We need those moments where it's not all uphill. It's not all a push. It's not all a grind. That's gonna burn you out. That is effing ridiculous. Are we excited? Yeah, it's not a race. Guys, you'll get there when you get there. If you need a break, take a break. Otherwise, you're going to break yourself. So, I digress. We get to the first waterfall and, quite a ways away from it because mom's all about safety. A little panicked about safety, of course. Kids are smaller. And we can see the waterfall off in the distance. And I'm terrible at judging length, but, good ways back. There's not a current or anything, but there's also a little, inlet on the side. And we get in the water, and, it's cold, and it's refreshing, and we have a snack, and we sit in the warm sun. And we can't stay there for very long because we do have to get down to the other side of the mountain before it's dark. So they get all refreshed, and they're like, whew, that was hard, but man, we still have longer to go. Yeah, we do. Because even if we turn back now, we're still turning back. We have all that way to go. So I think if I remember right, this was quite a few years ago, but if I remember right, the upper part of the falls is only another 4 or 5 miles, right? So they're like, let's do it. So they get their little packs on. I mean, I've got the bulk of the pack, but they've got their little backpacks with their water bottles. They got their hats. Put their socks and shoes back on, and we finally get to the upper part of the falls, the tallest point. And they're struggling getting up there, but they are troopers, man. And they get up there, and they say, man, this was worth it. Look at this view. When do we get this opportunity? It was so hard getting here. But, look at this. And in fitness, if you have goals for your body, it's not going to change unless you change it. It's not going to change unless you start putting in those habits, putting in those practices, getting out of that mindset of, ugh, this is hard. Come on. Seriously? If you have a goal, is it even worth anything if you're not willing to put in some effort? I don't think so. That's my personal belief. You can believe whatever you want. Maybe you want everything to just come easy to you. But I know from experience and from witnessing others that the more things are handed to you, the less you appreciate them. It just becomes an expectation, right? So, making the decision right now, where are you going to focus? What is one area of your life? When you disperse your energy across earlier I was talking about the assessment, right? I said 8 key areas. I'm thinking of changing that a bit, but we'll see. 8 key areas of your life. You're saying, I'm going to focus, I'm going to use easy math. I'm going to pretend there's 10 key areas and we're doing 10%. I'm going to focus 10% here and 10% here and 10% here and 10% here. This area is the most important to me, but I don't want to neglect these other areas. So I'm just going to disperse all of my attention and all of my focus across, and it's going to take you freaking forever. And you don't have time. Like, unfortunately, at this point in reality, we do not have infinite time. We are not going to get to experience everything. You have to decide what is the most important to you. What is worth it? There's a kid in my husband's class. He says, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, all of the effort that you're putting into it, what you're getting out of it, is it worth it? What area is doing the work, putting in the time, the energy, the focus, the consciousness? Where consciousness goes, energy flows. Where are you willing to put your focus? To achieve, to stop piddly-putting around and actually get the dang thing. Get it done. Okay, I'm getting fired up again. So, how do we do that? How? Step 1. Get into your body. We're regulating our nervous system. Okay? Create the time and the space to notice when you're elevated. Find practices that work for you. Because it's not being regulated. Regulating your nervous system is not about always being calm. We are meant to experience the roller coaster and the waves of emotions. It is about when we get heightened, can we come back to normal? Can we come back to baseline? Okay. And where is our window of tolerance? Do we get triggered and peak? If our baseline is here, is this the top? Just that little bit? Or can we push ourselves a bit? Can we stretch that rubber band of experiences and get to here? I'm gonna experience a higher high. I'm gonna experience a lower low. But I'm gonna have this full range of experiences and emotions and just all of this juiciness of life and still be able to come back to baseline. So that's regulating your nervous system, okay? I have a ton of tools on that. I'm gonna be, maybe for my birthday, I'll put that out. I'm gonna be doing a 5-week mini recalibration for the nervous system, getting back into the body. Okay, witnessing the body, experiencing it in safety. Because I know so many of us, we're all in our heads. We're not in our body because that's a scary place to be. Sometimes it's because we've experienced physical trauma. Sometimes it's because reality just doesn't feel right. And so we spend our time daydreaming. Look, there's so many reasons. So coming back into the body, we cannot manifest anything into this physical 3D reality if we're so focused on being up in the ethereal. If we're so focused on being in our heads and above. A lot of people here's where it stops. And even more here. Our consciousness stops here. So focus on the third eye and on the crown, that we're not speaking our truth. We're not being authentic and honest. We're not being heart-centered. We're not being heart-led, right? Our ego is taking over and connecting with this, and we think that we're saying these things that we're not conveying, okay? We think that we are always right. We think that like there's so much where the ego gets involved. Okay. So coming back into the body, regulating the nervous system. I'm going to give you a little tool now. Okay. This is a really simple one that I love so much because it can be done anywhere. Okay. At first, it's ideal to do laying down. Once you get used to doing it laying down, you can do it sitting up. Once you get used to doing it sitting up, you can do it standing. So, you pop my neck. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. That was juicy. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, get a little silly here. This is fun. We're playing. This is not serious. It is, but it's also not, right? Because again, life's a game. Okay, so take your hands and let me see. I don't know if this chair is tall enough, so I'm gonna scoot like this. So right behind the base of your skull, right at the base of the neck, or at the base of the head, you're just gonna cup your hands like you're laying in a hammock, okay? So lay on your back, hands behind your head, elbows wide like you're laying in a hammock, okay? And you're just gonna let your head rest there for a minute. You're chilling. After a minute, so you're gonna breathing in through your nose, hand behind the head, arms wide. You're gonna look to one side. Doesn't matter which side, you're gonna do both. You're gonna look to one side. This is to help regulate the nervous system. This is to calm down your vagus nerve. If you don't know what the vagus nerve is, let me know. We'll get into that in a separate video, in a separate stream, whatever seems the most aligned. So hands behind the head, like you're chilling in a hammock. You can imagine a nice breeze. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's warm, whatever your physical preference is. Maybe you can hear birds chirping. Use your imagination. You're gonna look to one side, eyes open, look to one side as far as you can. You're gonna hang out there. This typically happens fairly quickly for me because I'm used to doing this. Excuse me. Okay, so you're gonna look to one side until you get an involuntary response that usually shows up as a yawn, a gulp, or a sigh, a big breath, not one that you took intentionally, but one that just kind of happened, okay? So I got my yawn. You can come back to this. Do this anytime you want. Do it before bed. Do it when you wake up, anytime you're stressed, okay? So I looked to one side, got an involuntary response. Look to the other side. This head is staying straight. Head is staying straight. Look to the other side. Far as you can. Just relaxing there. Breathing. Until you get that involuntary response. Yawn, gulp, or sigh. Whew, that was a big one. A big release. And that starts training your nervous system to come back. It shows your system what a regulated state is. So maybe you want to stay there for a minute. Sometimes it'll make you feel sleepy. So stay aware of that. You probably don't want to do it like, right before you have to like go to a concert or something. And once you've gotten better at balancing and regulating your nervous system, we're going to balance the self-energetics. Now, this is a whole nother practice, okay, because we're getting into the energy system. I like to work with the chakras. You can do whatever is most aligned with you, but getting into the body, feeling where your energy centers are, feeling where you are in space. If you're standing, damn, I cannot stand up. So I used to struggle a lot. I still do sometimes. I catch myself when I'm in my head, if I'm standing, so if this is my profile, if I'm standing at the side, I would notice that I wasn't standing straight up and down. And I'm not talking like arched back kind of thing, but at my ankles, I'm leaned forward. It was so bad at one point when I hugged my husband, I felt like he was pushing me. And And so one day I was like, dude, like, why are you shoving me backwards? Like, I'm just trying to hug you. What's going on with this? He goes, no, I'm standing straight up. You're so used to being forward that up and down feels wrong. So I had to get back into my body. I had to get out of my head. I was so ready to do things. I was so in the go all the time. I had this list of things to do and I had to get it all done. And center. Where is your center? And you can do this practice right now if you're sitting. I like doing it like I have a Bosu ball or a yoga ball, but in the chair works fine. Just like, okay, feet flat on the floor. I like to have my legs a little bit open so that you feel nice and stable. Feel like you have a base of support here. Feel your sit bones on the chair. And then rock your pelvis side to side, just the pelvis. Keep your torso up and down. I don't know if you can see this. So torso staying still, just moving your butt side to side. You're wiggling your tailbone. Bring it back to center, where it feels like center, where it feels balanced. And go front to back, rocking your pelvis, front to back, just that pelvic bowl, front and back. Keeping your torso as still as possible. How far forward can you rock it with your butt under? How far back can you rock it? What feels stable? Okay. Notice any areas of weakness. Notice any areas that feel a little tense. Notice the emotions going through your body as you're moving. And then back to center. Okay. Now I like to do circles. Circle the hips. First one way, doesn't matter which way. We're gonna do both. Circling the hips around and around. I don't know why I have my hands up. I can't circle with my hands. Can I? Yes, yeah, there we go. So circling the hips round and round and center. Back the other way now. Round and round and round. Round and round. Does this side feel different? Which direction feels off? Back to center. Now notice, how does your pelvic bowl feel? How does that base of your support system while you're sitting feel? How does your back feel? How does your core feel? Are you collapsed in? Like, are you hunched over? Feel your body, move it around. Like you're in this constantly. And so much of our life is spent like at a computer or driving or on our cell phones. And I can get into a whole nother thing with that as a body worker, like the things that our posture is doing and how that's being perpetuated. Ugh, don't get me started there. So once you're in your body, get to a point of saying, what is my deepest truth in this moment? What is the area that I want to focus on? And then hold that vision. Hold space for that soul experience. Be willing to dissolve the messages, the limiting beliefs. And sometimes that can be hard to do on our own. So, like, always feel free to reach out directly. I have programs, all sorts of things. I like to do one-on-one better than the groups, but it's a little bit more of a vulnerable space. But sometimes groups also feel really good, right? Sometimes being in a space of supportive individuals where you can be expressive and be witnessed and held and honored, and vice versa, being able to give that to somebody else, profound, okay? And so first you're going to ask, here's our invitation right now, okay? So if you have your journal, awesome. If you don't, that's fine. Sitting in your body, going inside, getting a little bit of stillness, feeling that fire in your belly, that readiness for change. A little platter comes to you and says, the question right now, who am I? And start going through those labels. Who am I? I'm Tanisha. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a caretaker. I'm a body worker. I'm a coach. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm a spiritualist. I'm a human. Like go through all of the things. I'm. That's most of that is ego. Most of that is places that other people have put these labels on you. Or we've tried to describe ourselves because the mind likes definition. The mind likes that, okay? But we're going through, who am I at my core? What is the energy that I carry? What is the message that I hold? What does my soul want to experience? Now the next question, once you have even an inkling of who you are, what do I want? And we're going to take that question. What do I want? Why? You do that 5 times, okay? And it sounds silly. It sounds like, okay, I'm asking myself why 5 times. That's fucking ridiculous. It gets kind of tricky sometimes. What do I want right now? Why do I want that? Okay, that's one. Why do I want that? Why is that the case? Why? And sometimes you can't get to all 5. Totally get that, but I'm going to challenge you. Okay? So what do I want? Let me think. Where am I at right now? I'll be expressive. I'll be vulnerable right here. What do I want? I want to help the world heal. Okay, why? Because I believe everyone deserves comfort and joy. Why? Because we are all in this universal experience together, and wounding is unnecessary. Why is it unnecessary? Because we have the capacity for love. We have the capacity for kindness. We have the capacity for acceptance. Why? I mean, with that one, I can't go any deeper than that. That's my example. I am here. What do I want? I want to provide to the world. I want to help the world heal. That's my purpose. And I know that. I've done this work for a long time. I know that is my deep soul purpose. My deep soul purpose is to help my children grow into emotionally intelligent, regulated beings who can have everything that they want, and that they can not just look within themselves and be egocentric and gimme, mine all the time, that they can also give, because we were meant to be in this together. We are an ecosystem. We are an interweaving. We are fragments of source experiencing this reality from different perspectives. Okay, but at its core, at its center, we are all the same. Okay. Now, Scorpio, so I think it's Thursday. Thursday we go into Scorpio season. And if you had any question about it over the last, hour and a half that we've been together, I'm a Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about calling out the depth of reality. Okay, I am honestly terrible at surface level conversation. Now, if I just met you, I'm not going to ask about your personal life. Like I have some class, and I understand. I want to build trust with a person. I don't expect somebody to trust me right out the gate. A lot of times I do get a lot of oddly personal information, like while I'm in the grocery store. People just like, I get that I have a presence that people feel comfortable opening up to, and they kind of like purge. One of my clients one day was talking, he goes, I'm working on his shoulders, I'm doing body work with this particular client, and he's talking, he goes, I don't know if you're like a therapist or a massage therapist, where you're more like my barber, where I just talk to you. Why do I talk to you about these things? Like, I don't know. I'm like, they must need to come out. I'm here for it. I'm not going to judge you. Like, I'm freaking one of the last people in the world to judge. I'll ask questions, because we all have our own perspective. We all have our own past, our own way that we've arrived to where we are in our beliefs now. Some of them can be challenged, and that's where Scorpio comes in. So that's where I've been told that My husband says I can make people professionally uncomfortable, or that I am professional at being uncomfortable, because I will call that out. I will say, like, why do you believe that? And it's not that I'm making you like question yourself because I think you're wrong. On one hand, I'm curious, why do you believe that? You know, especially if I have a different belief. But even if I don't, even if I have a similar belief, like, what brought you there? What's going on? Is this scripting? Is this a program? Is this a limiting belief? When somebody says, oh, I can't do that, why? We go back into those 5 whys. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? Why is that? Get down to that core. Now, over the course of the next, when I feel the energy, it feels like the next like week or 2. Okay. It can likely go further than that, because the universe, the feminine, likes to speak this way. The feminine likes to speak in energy. Okay. It speaks in energetics. It speaks in symbolism, in myth, in feelings. So notice that over the next few weeks. Notice where there's just this little, and it's going to be different for everybody. You can get into a quiet space and get centered, and you can say, like, what does yes feel like to me? When I ask that, my left ear gets a little tingly. That's my yes. What does no feel like to me? And for me, that's a pit in my stomach. Everybody's going to be different. Okay, we all have our own ways of communicating with ourselves. So notice those feelings, like, why am I feeling this? Ooh, I'm noticing that my hands are a little cold. I'm noticing that my shoulders are a little tense. What's going on in my reality that's bringing this visceral reaction to me? Because our nervous systems, so we have, I'll try not to get too sciencey with this, but with the way our nervous system works, our brain and how it sends energy into the body as it sends transmissions for action, like I'm moving my hand forward right now, there are so many less nerves that go from our brain into our body than do our body into our brain. Okay, so our bodies are going to receive information from the outside world, whether that's an energetic sensation, a noticing of a change in temperature, something being out of alignment, and then it's going to send it to our brains. And if our brain is not in touch with our body, it's going to have a very hard time translating that. So over the next couple of weeks, keep getting into the body. Again, I'm going to do that 5-week mini reclamations, body reclamation, getting back into it. And remember, every single thing, as the paradigm shifts, we are dropping the masks right now. What is one thing? It doesn't have to, don't bite off more than you can chew. You're going to burn yourself out. Okay? I say that with love. Be jazzed. Be excited. This is a moment. This is a time that we get to do this. We have this opportunity to take action for our lives, for the way we want the world around us to be. We get to co-create. But don't bite off more than you can chew. So what is one thing that you can do? Maybe you've been feeling really unaligned in your job. Now, in human design, when I read human design, there are different ways to understand how we translate. So let's say, like, I'm emotional. I have to listen to my emotions. Sometimes those emotions go back and forth as they're processing. That's just part of emotions. It's very much so like the waves of an ocean, okay? So, but you might, in your design, if you're looking specifically at human design, your design might be, you need to wait 28 days to make a big decision. So if you get this inclination, like, I want to quit my job, damn it, like, maybe you need to wait a little bit. Has it been building? Has it been building? Has it been building? And finally, like, if you've been thinking about this for months and you're like at your breaking point, you don't need to wait another 28 days. Listen to your intuition, okay? It's your life. Are there going to be repercussions if we're using the example of quitting your job? Absolutely. You know, maybe you don't have another job lined up, but I do know that doors open when you close other ones. when you get into alignment, when you stop looking at the universe from this place of lack and victimhood, where everything is happening to me and I am not getting anything that I want, and like I need and I need and I need and nothing is here for me. When you stop looking at things like that, you'll start receiving. The energetic alignment, when you're, Abraham Hicks calls it the vortex. So when you're in this place of like, I want, and I'm not getting, and you're rolling upstream. Like you're putting so much effort into rowing upstream because your ego thinks that's what you need to be doing and where you need to be going and blah. And when you can just be like, done. This isn't right. I know it's not right, but I trust that I'm going to find my way. Then you get into flow. And then things start coming to you. Opportunities present themselves. When you leave that toxic job that's killing your soul and not appreciating you, you have the opportunity to find something better. If you're trying to manifest a relationship, you're saying, I can't find, as a female-bodied person, I'm going to say a man. I can't find a man. I can't find a partner. I can't find, like, they're just not out there. I'm just not finding them. Are you ready? Or are you wanting? Are you the kind of person? And there's never enough, right? So it's not about being healed enough. Okay? Because that's a constant process. We're always growing, we're always changing, we're always shifting. But if you're, let's say, I want someone who's a partner who's going to appreciate me, and you can't receive that, if you haven't done the healing that you need to do to be able to receive when somebody appreciates you, you're not even going to recognize it. You're not going to recognize it if it bit you in the ass. That's just the way it is. Okay? And like I promised, I told you I was going to trigger you. So if I do, it's with love. Okay? So what limiting beliefs are getting in your way? What stories are getting in your way? All right. Think about these things for the next couple of weeks. This is your initiation to show you that you can. You are worthy. That voice in your head that tells you you're not, trash it. And I know that's easier said than done, right? If you don't know the steps to take, if you don't know the practices, if you don't know the tools, if you don't have those skill sets yet, reach out to me. Literally what I do. Okay? I've not only have I been there, but I have taught it. Okay? So you can. You are a queen. You are a king. We all are. And again, we are equal. There is not one person on this earth that is more deserving than another. Our planet is just as deserving as we are. Our neighbor is just as deserving as we are. And my kids say, well, what about criminals? Has that criminal made bad decisions? Absolutely. And I know there's a whole caveat here, and there's where people, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Just listen to the big picture. Stop nitpicking. You're not going to learn anything if you're so focused on trying to prove something wrong. Okay? The criminal in this example, okay, has a past. That past and the programs that they received led them down a path. Now, sometimes there's a really beautiful TED Talk. I encourage you to listen to. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but it talks about, I can't remember the title of it, but it's a gentleman who went to prison, okay? And he was reformed. He was introduced to a men's group in prison that allowed him to process through his emotions and through his past and through the expectations and limiting beliefs and programs that had been pushed onto him and thrust onto him that made him start to branch out and try to break out, but not in healthy ways. And it snowballed, right? So these criminals have their own experiences. We are all going to have different experiences. We are all going to take different perspectives from them. One sentence can be said to the same two children, and each of them will take something different from that. Okay? Does that limiting belief that they ingested, does that make them less deserving of love, of care, of kindness, and respect? Or is mistreating them just going to perpetuate that negativity? Is mistreating them just going to perpetuate all of the negativity that they think this world is, that justifies their wrongdoings? Something to think about. So now, in understanding that you are deserving, that you can have everything that you want, that you are the author of your own story and the creator of your own reality. This is your phoenix rising. This phoenix in the oak that is the solidity around you. This sturdy reality that gets to exist for you. Now we can start taking these understandings and translating them into reality. But you have to understand yourself first. You have to believe that you are worth it. It's one thing to say, I believe I'm worth it. Yeah, of course. I think I can make this much money. I think I can have these nice things. I think I deserve a loving partner. But if that little voice in the back of your head, you can't use affirmations to change your world. I do hold some value in the whole like fake it till you make it mentality. Like I've been there. I've been in a place where I'm doing it for other people. Like I don't have the energy and the belief in myself that I am worthy, but I still want to be here for this person. Even if it's like your dog or your houseplant. Like if you love something and that's what's keeping you here, keep going. Okay? But saying like, I am valuable or I am worthy over and over and over again, when that voice in the back of your head is saying, that's bullshit. That's a lie. That's a crock of crap. Like, what gives you the right? If that voice is still back there saying that, saying I'm worthy, you can write it along your walls 1,000,000 times and it's not going to put it into your body. It's not going to put it into your nervous system. It's not going to put it into your neural network. It's not going to be true because the mind is telling you that it's not. So those are your steps, okay? Get into your body. We've been here a very long time. I love and appreciate the amount of time that you've been willing to sit here with me. Take this in steps, take this in bites. If any of it doesn't make sense or you want it expanded on, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message. I know sometimes putting a comment can be really vulnerable, and if you're not open to that vulnerability right now, if that feels like too much, shoot me a message. I'm never going to judge you. I am here with love, respect, and reverence. Okay? If you're on YouTube, I'll put comments in here. If you're on the Clock app, over in my profile, there's my link tree. Or comments, I'll put it down in the description. My link tree has the assessment that I talked about with the journal prompts and the practices to help you start to understand where you're at in your life and maybe what you might want to focus on now. Again, these are all offerings and suggestions. That assessment also will give you a 15-minute guided somatic practice to help you get into your body. Just a very gentle practice. It's very introductory to start understanding what somatics is about. If somatics feels aligned to you, if it feels like something that you need, which I mean, everybody needs it. So I don't like using the word need. I don't think, you know, I don't get to determine what you need, right? You have to feel if it's aligned for you. Okay. So the invitation is there. I think, let's see, November starts on a Saturday. So that first full week of November, I'm going to launch my 5-week somatic reclamation journey. I'm not going to do anything crazy as far as pricing. Could I? Absolutely. You know, I could charge as if we were doing one-on-one sessions. I'm not going to do that. This is to help people. Okay. This is an offering. So, I'm going to make it very achievable. Okay. So if that's something that you want to have access to, of course, I'll be putting out announcements on social media. So my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, probably the YouTube as well, although that's kind of a different intention in the platform. So you can also subscribe. Okay, I'm going to be putting out newsletters. I've been really terrible about that because I hate sitting down in front of a computer longer than I have to, especially typing. But like having a conversation with you guys like this is a lot easier for me. But I'm making the commitment here and now out loud that I'm going to be getting back into my newsletters, my announcements. So if you want to know when that course is releasing and any other special events, I'm getting back into doing my moon circles and gatherings similar to these. I might start taking them on Zoom because they are very long. And because I know a lot of people are coming through that aren't necessarily interested. So, all that being said, take a big breath. Be here in this moment. I am so, so proud of you. And I love you so much. I don't even have to know you to know that I love you. Okay. You are incredible. And the fact that you are willing to take this step and take responsibility and accountability for your life, to acknowledge that you have things that you want to work on. It's not a need. You're not broken. I'll say it a million times. You're not broken. But if you're in a place where you are ready and you're done being ready to be ready, if you are really, truly ready, I honor you, I see you, and I love you. Take a big breath. Let yourself smile. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in your life. This time, this energy, this focus. One day, all of this, those deep, 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 dark, dark, dark moments, you're going to be past them because you're strong. It does not last forever. It will not last forever. I know that in the bottom of my heart and my soul. If you make the choice to change it, if you make the choice to alchemize it. All right, you have the resources. You know how to get a hold of me. Mwah, I love you. Go about your day. And if you need to come back to this, it'll be posted on my YouTube. So have a wonderful day.